with Life Family for 11 years, actually, 11 years, believe it or not. And this was put in front of me by a nurse practitioner who was treating Chris and myself for Lyme disease. So we were not looking for business. We were looking for to heal. We were looking for a better way. And she basically showed us an ABC investigative news report that had my jaw hitting the floor. Being in massage for, it's 22 years this year, I have known that our bodies were designed to move back to homeostasis and heal. If given the right environment, the right mindset, the right nutrition. And you know, in those ways, I was like, are you kidding me? Lowering the condition of oxidative stress, which is tied to over 200 diseases, right? Like to be able to lower that by 40% in 30 days, it blew my mind. So here we are, you know, she said patents are there, science is done. We couldn't wait to get started. So we started having results right away. I was sleeping better through the night. I was having more clarity in the mornings. You know, pain was decreasing. You know, all kinds of things started to shift within the first couple of weeks. And that had me taking a deeper look into, wow, what would it do for this person? The nurse practitioner did not know that we were rubbing two pennies together. We drained all of our savings accounts to be able to handle Chris being bedridden for 3 months, me being out of work. We had a 2-year-old at the time. It was like a financial mess is really what we were in. And at that point, I saw kind of the business part of the presentation of, you know, being first. We're talking about, you know, an invention and being first and bringing it to the world. And we saw kind of how the money played out. And we were like, are you kidding me? This is leverage, you know, to be able to do the work once and get paid over and over and over. So we just grabbed onto this thing and really just ran with it. So we're gonna have a short presentation tonight. Chris and I are gonna split it up. He's amazing. He's been with me on this since the beginning. He's kind of like, he's like a brain mapper. The guy, like the way he explains things is like super cool. You just know the brain flow that just brings it around. Anyway, super cool. You'll get to know him that way. Endurance athlete, you know, in the trades, doing his thing, and really has a really great story. So come on up and you kick this off.
First half, what we're gonna do here.
Yes.
Not a place I expected to find myself in front of a room talking about a company like this, but we're just going to share some information on a company. And the way I had heard this information when I first saw it a number of years ago was around an opportunity to partner with that company. And initially, that information didn't really land with me. I said, no, thank you. It was basically a business proposal this young man laid down that we were looking for partnership. But I did understand something about the product this young man had showed me. It was an ABC investigative news report. And as my wife said, I had some background as an athlete, competitive athlete at a kind of a high amateur level, running and racing my bicycle. So I, through that, taken all kinds of stuff, you know, vitamins, supplements and whatnot. This is what athletes generally do. What caught my attention was what I thought was just a supplement, basically. It's what it appeared to be, a pill. It was endorsed by ABC News, and it was a short report. And what I kind of got out of it was they were going in there to like debunk the thing. Like the news story was the normal situation where you'd see the CEO of the company with like his briefcase over his head or something like that. But it wasn't. They actually endorsed it, and it was a really good outcome. So that was the start of my journey into this. My background doesn't lend to this. I was running a small construction outfit when this came across my desk. And prior to that, I worked in the mountain sports industry for a few decades, mainly as a professional ski patroller and in mountain rescue, and then kind of in management in the ski industry. So we're going to lay out this information as pretty much the same way we saw it 11 years ago, because the company stands at a point where it's, in my mind, has only built a more solid foundation now than 11 years ago, but the growth potential that I saw back then still exists because our company necessarily hasn't been chewing up that growth, we've been spending our time building our foundation. And I'm gonna just take everyone through the first part of that. Now, the way this was laid out to my wife and I was something like I recognized. It was a kind of a 6-point business presentation. It talked about if you're looking for a successful business opportunity, it would involve lining up a really good company that has a good product or service. Hopefully something unique. Hopefully something significant, meaning it makes a big splash. It's not just marshmallow fluff. And probably the third element, if you could actually satisfy all three, would be a really broad market appeal. So for example, there's a lot of companies that sell makeup, but the market to sell that to men really isn't as broad. So these were all important factors I saw coming together. The other two factors beside the company and the product, and maybe for me, some transparency in the company. So I could like figure out what's going on and actually verify that we're looking at a solid company. Our trends and timing, and these are two forces you can't control. If you want to make money in the business world, you actually need to be able to recognize these things, but you are not going to be able to go out there and influence how people are going to spend their money long term. You need to recognize this is where people are going to spend their money long term. And maybe I have a company that's positioned, this is the timing element, ahead of all of that. Okay, so you got to align a product and a company with the trends in the marketplace and timing. Meaning, we don't want to be hooked up with a company right now trying to develop the next best pager. You know, the time for that came and went, and trends and timing are not with us if we're working with pagers and typewriters. And I've used the analogy of, you know, we could make a typewriter with a never-ending ribbon. You can make it out of carbon fiber so it's really light. You know, put a cup holder in it, do whatever you want to the typewriter. We're not going to sell them. And then the final things around this, I guess, were, for me, would this be worth my time to get involved? So it was really around compensation and who am I going to get involved with? A system, or what I would say more importantly, we're going to touch upon culture. I was like, who is involved? Who are the people involved in this company? Are these good people doing, you know, good ethical business? So we're just going to touch upon all those things, kind of a tip of the iceberg kind of thing. The rest of it's really still below the waterline, but there's a lot of good information that supports all of this. So I'm going to hit our product story and our company's story. Started actually back before 2003, but that's when we developed this product that I was introduced to. Before that, we were a biotech company trying to do things with drugs. But we actually developed something all natural, trying to hit these targets. And ABC News came in to do a news story on it. And it almost tanked our company. So our company was doing really poorly in retail. We're losing about $1 million a year. And ABC News came in 2 years into business. They dropped this news report. And this is where you can see that you have to have the right people at the company to make things happen. And the guys steering the company at the time, they didn't forecast what kind of demand was going to come out of this news report. So what happened was people bought every bit of product that was available to the company, of basically 2 years worth, and they were out of everything. And they dropped the story, I guess, in like 2 weeks. So it wasn't like, hey, let's ramp up production and do all this. So they found themselves at a loss. Zero product with like massive, massive demand after 2 years of business. And they had this stuff at GNC, Rite Aid, Vitamin Shop, everywhere. And by the time they got it out back at the store shelves, all that interest had died down. Probably their original customer base. Anyone who saw the news report wasn't going back. And I'll share my result in a few minutes, but I needed to take it more than a month. So if I had been one of those people who only got my hand on one bottle, I wouldn't have been back. So the company literally, 2009, they were going to go out of business. And it was a situation in football where you hear about the Hail Mary, like the quarterback just throws up a pass and like hoping someone will catch it, but that's it. Like all the time is run out, everything's run out. That's what happened to this company. They took a chance on direct sales network marketing. That's why a guy like me with my background is involved in this company. I'm not a health expert, but this industry lends to regular people giving voice to a product, and it was successful. It rescued the company. We're over 200 million in sales now. So beyond like 3 million in sales. I mean, we're doing dismal, and our company again tried to do it at CVS and Walgreens, where everyone buys their products. It just didn't work. But we're a NASDAQ traded company. I like that. That's transparency. And you can see our company has tremendous resources right now. And they're looking for places to put it, and they want to invest into us. And that's where the business partnership really comes in. But this company is solid, debt-free. I like the transparency that I can verify all that information. And these are the people behind carrying this company forward. Now, this is where we stand today. We were asked to ring the closing bell twice in just the last 2.5 years. That's a big deal. It would take more than a decade to rotate through all the companies on the NASDAQ. If you were just to have a level playing field and invite them all. But they invite the high performers. And this is a high performance company. It's the reason we've been asked to close that bell. A lot of people on this team, Sarah flew down for one of these events in 2020. Was there for that. So the reason ABC News came in, that report I told you about, was this. This company had been lowering people's oxidative stress. Sarah mentioned that. It's really just garbage that builds up in our system. The important thing is that garbage is connected to how and why we age and all these diseases, and no one had ever done that before. That's why ABC News came in. It wasn't that, oh, this is the 100th thing that did that. No one had ever done that. To my knowledge, no one's done that since. And we've developed that technology further. This is how we do it. It's by turning on your own enzyme systems. They're like garbage men and garbage trucks, and they take the garbage out all the time. We hit a certain age and we stop making as many garbage men and garbage trucks. That garbage piles up and we get sick. That was that last chart. But what's different is the things that people were familiar with that you put in your body, they work on a very small ratio over here. It's like, it's biochemistry. I don't fully understand it, but it adds up to this, that to do what just one of your own enzymes could do, and that's all we do. We turn on your own enzymes, those garbage men and garbage trucks. But just one of your enzymes is so powerful, it would take 500 cups of broccoli to match just what one of those are doing. Now, I don't know how many of those enzymes you're making in your cells, but you have to make a lot of them to just even have an impact where it's measurable in someone's blood. You literally have to have something that works 1,000,000 times better down in your cells to actually have it show up in your blood. And that is no hyperbole. We turn on systems that work 1,000,000 times better than all this stuff, basically antioxidants. This is the product that did that. It's certified for use at really high levels in athletics. Basically, this just certifies that it's clean, okay? Really important, that's third-party stuff. But it's just it's really minute amounts of these ingredients actually act like a key to turn on things through our DNA. And what's really cool about that story is they didn't realize that till after the news report aired. They didn't have the microscopes at the time to actually see what our DNA did or even measure it. So all this is validated at a really high level, and it's really easy to verify. So from a business standpoint, when I said product needs to be unique and highly significant, this is it right here. This resource is a pretty good way to suss it out. It's a search engine. You can type the name of our first branded product in there and find more than 24 studies now. What I liked about this, again, my business mind working, is I use that search engine to type in the names of other products that are out there, maybe things that even claim that they did what we did. And I couldn't find that kind of verification, that validation. So again, really easy to verify. And to me, it put this thing in kind of a standalone category. Like maybe this is actually really, really significant. The company's been able to develop not on this product, we're going to show you a couple more, portfolio of patents. And these are high level patents. Anyone who looks at patents would know a difference. Some are like a page or a paragraph, and these are heavy duty medical patents that verify further what this does. And then these are just some of the bits of exposure that product alone has had over the many years. But I think there's a real groundswell of this, but people just haven't heard of it yet. And people would say, well, why is that so? But it does take time. I think Starbucks coffee was founded in the early 1970s, and a lot of people probably didn't hear of them until the 1990s. It takes time, but our company's been building this foundation I've been telling you about, a stronger foundation than when I saw the company a decade ago. So we took that initial technology. This is just garbage men and garbage trucks. If you think of our cells, they work like a city. They have power plants, and they kind of have like managers, a whole system of managers that make stuff happen, and money. You actually print your own money. And I've heard this molecule right here, that this, when you take this, it makes you make it. It's money. Your cells need it. They work almost exactly like a city, and they need all these things. What we're doing is turning on these systems in the body. They work great when we're younger, but not so great when we're older. The other concept of this, I'll just show it in a very visual way. Those 3 products I showed, these are just examples of sets of our genes, our DNA, that they actually turn on. But when all these things are combined, they turn on at a much higher level. And it's the same way a city would work. If you have a garbage department, it's going to work a lot better if that city's better funded, if it has better managers managing the garbage department and putting resources that way, along with all the other departments. So this is a city running, doing its best, probably without a lot of money. This is a city with a lot of money. Basically, you can think about it like that. That's how these systems layer on top of each other. So our company's been continuing to piggyback on this concept of, okay, you got things that work great in a little kid, and it's the reason why they heal from injury faster and they're resistant to disease. It's just that simple. And it would be great if there was just one system that did that, but it's hundreds of systems in our body. And we've just been ticking them off one by one. I hear in like life extension and anti-aging, there's like 12 of them, 14 of them they consider really big ones. We've ticked off probably 4 or 5 of them. This is how our body makes its own collagen, and it's all of our tissues in our body. I wasn't going to take it. The only thing I knew about collagen when this came out about 1.5 years ago, I thought it was a hair and nails and skin product. And I had to have a doctor in the company tell me, Chris is a 50-plus-year-old athlete. You want to be taking this stuff. And he told me why. And yeah, I've had some incredible results with this. And I've been on these other products for like over a decade. And this is something when I added it to my regimen, I noticed. Collagen, again, hits all these different systems of the body. All of our flexible tissues are made out of it, and our ability to make it ourselves just like falls off a cliff, I guess. These are some of the before and afters. I mean, these are some of these results people had in just, a matter of a week to a couple of weeks. But this is probably our newest, most significant product. We do have studies and patents to back all this stuff up as well. And those charts I showed you, like city operating with no money and money, same kind of thing. The combination of these does things that are unique and that we can patent. Here's some examples of how some of these other products, affect things in just a measurable way. Pretty simple. This is a handwriting sample. A lot of kids with ADD, ADHD type problems have had great experience with this decaf. It's a powder drink. We just mix it with water. We have a whole line of products. It's mainly based on small amounts of ingredients that turn on systems in the body. It's a new concept. Some people would call it nutrigenomics. It's how nutrition affects our DNA. But this is what we're doing. We're trying to take this, globally. We're just in a handful of countries now. Sarah's going to talk about the growth potential of this company. But when I got in here, I had to really, understand this industry. And what I came to understand is these legacy companies in this industry, they go all over the globe. They go in more than 100 countries. And I decided I wanted to be part of that. I had an experience with the product. So I said, no thanks to that young man.
Hell of a wheelchair.
57
Get her up there like that.
athlete. I was a 42-year-old athlete at the time, but I walked with a really bad limp and I was in just horrible pain every day. A lot of hardware still in this leg, holds this leg together. Had a lot of other injuries. And it was the first thing I noticed was, took a few months, but I was like, one day I was like out of pain and I was still like dragging my leg. My leg didn't function like it does now. But I was very curious about that and what could have done that. And once I found that out, I became a lifer customer. I'm like, oh, wow, I understand what this is doing in my body. Well, I'm going to take this stuff forever. Then I started understanding what this company was doing and that people that shared this information with me one time was kind of an easy sell. They showed me the news report and I took it. That they were gonna get a commission off that for the rest of my life. And then I started to get very interested in what this company was doing and the fact that they hadn't reached anyone yet. So these things started to intrigue me. But it was my wife, Sarah, that was the one that recognized this from the get-go. When I was, saying no, I was actually in a hurry to get back to my construction business. And grabbing a bottle of that product on the way out the door. But it was my wife that recognized there was an opportunity here, so. Is it your turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna talk about collagen alter ego because.
Well, it did. I just wanted to really share what nailed me in this position was realizing, okay, I'm a lifer customer of that product. But we can share I do know we want to keep clicking on the,
Share your story, it's so important, like how did the collagen, just share what the collagen did.
Well, I still, so I was out of everything, my whole, career, I'd lost my entire career. So my career was based on being in a ski boot or a climbing boot, basically being in my ski boot, either working in mountain rescue, patrolling or guiding for 8 months a year. And the other 4 months a year at that point, I was guiding, just climbing in the mountains. So I had some kind of climbing boot and I was like on the move all the time. Career-ending injury for me. I didn't climb or ski or even put my foot in a ski boot for almost a decade, 9 years. Pro tandem was the start of my journey back. So at the age of 42, this injury is getting worse. Pro tandem enters my life. I do get back in a ski boot. I do get back in the ski industry. I do climb mountains again, but Sarah will tell you my left ski boot's pretty custom. I got like all these foam shims and I'm not suddenly moving my tongue around. I have a lot of hardware in there where I drive the boot. And it's fine, it's not uncomfortable enough that I would give up the sport. And I've progressed, but at the age of 51, the collagen enters my life. Again, at 51, you're not recovering from injuries, your old injuries getting worse. I will say the last 2 years in my ski boots have been, I have not had a problem.
Like the lockup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, once in a while my ankle would lock up once or twice a year. So, no, I've had a phenomenal, steep pitch in my curve of healing, adding that collagen product. So I'm a believer. I know what this company has works. But you take broken parts of your body when you're in your 40s or 50s and you start mending those, when they're telling me this stuff activates systems that work when you're younger, the very reason that kids can heal from injury and an old person can't, I'm a believer. It's happening to me.
Yeah.
That's my story. Believe it or not.
And I'm sticking to it.
I'm sticking to it. I'll have this over to you.
Yeah, I know, one of my whys in the very beginning was to make sure that he had choices, whether or not, to go to work or not, because, it was that devastating pain every single day. It was white knuckling it from the truck to the, back to the house and, and even being a massage therapist, for 22 years, it's like, oh my gosh, like every time I'd work on his foot, it would get worse. And I'm like, I don't even know how to help him. Like, how do you help someone who's in chronic pain every single day? And it was just like, that was one of my biggest whys, to pay off all of our debt and to, give Chris the choice of, when and how and, when he went to work. So, diving into this, I had all these things about network marketing, built up in my, my experience, which was people really just forcing products on me, not listening. It was very much a hunter mentality of, buy my stuff. And I was always just like, nope, I'm good. Massage therapist without one product in her space. No kidding. It was my hands, right? And so when I found out what it was, I had such a deep belief in the product that I was like, I felt a moral obligation to actually share this. Like, hey, this could be a card in your back pocket. I had no idea if it's going to be a good fit, but I was so pumped on the product. Then I started attending events. And what I found is that there was a system, right? There was a system for success that allowed me to just plug in. Like, I didn't have to be the specialist, the massage therapist that knew all about everything. It was really about plugging into something that was already there, hanging my hat on, even my husband's story, or, kind of my support team and their stories. Like, I didn't have to know it all. And I think being from, a massage S quadrant specialist, position, it was really hard to trust the system and to lean into a team because I was always used to pulling myself up by the bootstraps and making it all happen. So the system was really key. And, we have we have a shopping cart technology, we have our replicated website, that allows us to really plug into all the information we need. We have teams, we have training, we have mentorship, we have all the things, like you don't have to know how to run a business. And that was really, kind of really great. And, the main thing is the timing, to be honest. Like, if I would have heard about this and everyone would have known about it, I would not be standing here. I would be a really good referral source and I'd be taking the product. But what I saw was, and what I learned is that businesses have a timing curve, right? And when, the first 3 to 5 years in a business is, 90% of companies fail. And when they hit what's called critical mass, it's when branding happens. But really, it happens once, and it happens fast when a company hits momentum. And then there's too late. The too late are like the $1 billion granddaddies. It's the Melaleucas, it's the doTERRAs, it's the it's kind of the $1 billion companies that are sitting at the too late, which really means it's you're kind of late to the party, right? Right now. And what industry experts say is that if you're part of a company like this, that's on this positive trajectory for growth, and there are under 300,000 consultants worldwide, you have an opportunity to really create something generational. Like you build the house once, it is a business of rebuilding for sure. But here's the thing, like LifeVantage has under 90,000 consultants, and I'm being super generous with that number. I think the last
58,000.
58,000.
Global.
Okay, global,
It's the
right?
last number I got for the Europe team.
From the Europe team, yeah. So 58,000,
19,000 of foreign markets from Europe and Asia.
yeah, and probably like 40,000 in the US.
40,000 US and Japan.
Yeah, US and Japan.
Yeah. Very
So it's early, it's early. And, and so that's what's so exciting about this is that, yes, people probably in Utah, you're going to run into people that say, oh my gosh, I took that and then I stopped taking it. I didn't even know why I was taking it. So it's that, and then they learn the education. I mean, Gina was a perfect example. She had heard about this at the very beginning, was taking it, but never had the education behind it. And here she is kind of circling back. So it's kind of a cool time because that is really where we can create something generational. And that to me is exciting. And it's around this concept of trading time for money versus leveraged income. When Chris was out, sick, the paycheck stopped. I mean, when our hands are not doing the thing, the paycheck stops, right? So creating multiple streams of income is what people need to do to really make it. Because right now, whatever people are doing for their work, there is always too much month at the end of the money. And like, what's next? It's not getting any better. Like you keep seeing the forecast, like people need to bring an extra 5,000 a month to actually stay where they are in their lifestyle. And that's what they're projecting. Like everything's, we know everything's expensive. So, building something like this, honestly, is, it has, I took a month off, to go help my dad for his last days. And was able to unplug from the business, unplug from life, be present for my dad as he transitioned, out of this life, and my paycheck went up. I mean, it was like, and so that's what we're talking about here. It's like building, digging the well before we're thirsty. And that's what allows us to do it. And we're building a network of consumers, a network of consultants, and the company pays in 6 different ways. One of the best and most exciting ways is the leadership bonus pool. It creates a culture of cooperation, communication. It's why I'm psyched to partner with everyone who's cross-line and working different businesses, because, different lines and really kind of through different leadership. We get 4% of that global revenue share. So Chris and I hit the elite ranks during COVID, and the executive consultant won. We get 1 share of the global pool. So when I'm sleeping, we don't have a team in Japan yet, we're making money, right? Like it's very, very powerful. This is just a copy of the income disclosure. The average monthly commissions, it's a business of empowering people. It's not like, oh yeah, you're gonna work your way to the top, right? It's called, when Chris and I started sharing this and we were making like $659 a month, it changed our world. We could put snow tires on the car every month if we wanted to, right? It was like, okay, that money's coming in over and over, right? You build it once and it continues to pay. And the great part about this is like, we just found other people that wanted snow tires every single month too. Like, we were so excited about it. And then it's empowering those people and helping them find their dreams that allowed us to make it through the ranks. It starts out as kind of this, scarcity mentality of like cleaning up the debt, figuring out your life, getting yourself back. And then it really turns into contribution and how can I help somebody? And the servant leadership and the servant part of helping people is actually what makes us happy in life, right? It's about helping people, and that's all we're doing here. There are a couple of tracks. We are an and company, which means there are going to be some people who come in and are like, I'm so excited to build a team. It's leadership and all these things. Some people are going to come in and say, I love the product and I just want to share it with the world. And there's a way that people are creating income. And just to give you a broad understanding, 20 customers, coming in at 200 in sales, okay, equals 4,000. That's 1,200 in recurring income, okay? And so that's what's really powerful. A brand new person can begin to experience leveraged income right out of the gate. So, again, there are bonuses. We can go into this, it's this deeper dive, but it's truly a way where people can start getting a return on investment right out of the gate and actually be, excited. And it actually creates more money. And then, having one friend, you and a friend. It's not like you're building this huge team. You have one friend who's doing the same thing as you are, and that's really where the pool share comes in, and that's where all the kind of duplication happens. So people enroll with the pack. There are many different options, and there's a huge savings because you get a discount on the products. Most people that see the big vision want to have the story of the elite pack and the business pack. That's where they get 36% off. It's like a great savings, but people get in where they fit in, and that is totally great. And then they pick, oops, I have two slides, so I don't know which one you like better, but they're both, this one, I kind of like this one because it has the number, bigger numbers. And then we pick a stack, which is really our subscription. That's the most important piece to this, is the subscription, where we're helping people decide and come up with what's a good fit for them. And there's a savings in the pack, in the stacks as well. And to wrap this up, we're talking about legacy. I am excited to leave a legacy. Like, whatever I create in this lifetime, I get to will down to my daughter. And, there's a lot attached to that. We have to teach her how to manage generational wealth. I mean, there's a lot to it, but I could, it just brings up my philanthropic, giver side too. The company is the same, and that's what you're going to find. The culture, the people. It is not a flash and cash bikinis and Lamborghinis experience. It's family, it's fun, it's vision, high vibe people who are contributing. And this, basically the company is pouring into organizations like this to really make a difference. And we get to be a part of that. So thank you very much for listening. And yeah, it's been a game changer for our family. And for the families that we've really touched along the way, and really the friends that have been, I'm sure what that is. Sounds like a little, anyway, for us, again, it's, moving from Maine. We moved 2.5 years ago and just kind of landed in Utah. We knew we wanted to be here. It's been our dream to, have a place right near the national, kind of trails and forests and, kind of activities outside. That's kind of where we thrive and where we fill our cup. And without LifeVantage, this really wouldn't have happened. And so that's what we're excited about. We're here and really just wanting to lock arms and blow this thing up. So yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you. And